Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Marvelous Marva, and today I wanted to talk about something that has been on my mind and in my heart to express for some time now. So, basically, in the title somewhere, I've put in that you'll no longer think about smoking or the person. And the reason why I said that in the title of this podcast is because I remember some time ago along my journey when I used to be a smoker of more than just cigarettes. I used to smoke weed. And hopefully I put that in the title as well, because I'm sure there are a lot of people out there like me that were or that are dealing with wanting to quit, whether it is you want to quit smoking cigarettes, or you want to quit smoking weed, or you want to quit drinking, or you want to quit anything. So here's my story. So I'm just going to take this back. I don't want to take it too far back, but I want to take it back to when I first started. So I was talking with a friend recently, and we were both agreeing that usually when we start smoking, it's because of friends or, someone on the outside that tells us to try it. It's usually not just us wanting to try it just because. So, my story is when I was about 14 years old, I was going through a lot of things, a lot of different changes as teenagers do. And I had friends that started to make me feel accepted for being weird and not being like everyone else. And I wanted to hold on to that. It was the first time I ever really felt just like really accepted by a group of my peers. And so I had a friend, and he told me that he smoked weed, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I've been hearing about it. I want to try it. So I tried it. And from that day on, a lot of my interactions with people were around me smoking weed. I didn't realize that I started associating closeness and being able to open myself and express myself with other people around smoking and drinking and smoking cigarettes and all of the different attachments that we form in order to allow ourselves to be in certain situations or around certain people. So fast forward to adulthood, in my 18, 19, 20 year of age, I was already a mom. I was a young mom. I had my child when I was 16. Starting my journey at 14 of smoking kind of allowed me to put myself in the presence of people that smoked as well. So I met a lot of different guys that like to smoke, and I really thought, I was being cool because, you know, I wanted the attention. I wanted someone to love me, and I knew that by smoking, that was the way we could relate first, and by allowing them to just hang out with me and smoke, then I could allow them to love on me physically, the things that I thought I wanted and needed at that time. I don't regret where I came from because we're all here on a journey. So without that journey, I wouldn't have had my wonderful son. So it's all lessons, this is school, the life of school that we're doing every day, and we're just learning and growing. So again, fast forward, after my 20s, I was married, and in my relationship, I still continued that mindset of not needing to smoke, and then with that became a thing about drinking. Like I realized in my marriage that drinking was a place of connection for me and my partner. Like when we drank, we had fun, we had conversations, and I just kept that going. And we started to make friends with our neighbors, and we drank a lot. We drank a whole lot. My 20s were all about drinking. I was raising my kids too, But I was doing a lot of drinking in between that. A lot of drinking, a lot of smoking, a lot of other drugs here and there. And I just kept on that journey. About my mid 30s, I started to begin to feel like, man, I really want to see what life would be like without having to smoke cigarettes, because I had become full on with cigarettes. Like, I was buying my own packs. I was no longer just bumming off of people. I would smoke on my own. I would sometimes smoke in my car, which was something I was always against, but I started doing that. And I would hang out with my ex-husband, and when we would hang out and drink and smoke cigarettes, I would always bring up how I want to quit, and it would irritate the mess out of him. He would just, get frustrated and say, you're kind of a downer, because every time we hang out just doing this, our normal thing, you're saying that you want to stop. And I feel like inside I was really crying for him to be the one to help me to stop. That didn't happen. I had to stop on my own. I just really got frustrated, and with all the attempts of trying to stop, by complaining about it, nothing was changing. And so I started really just diving deep into myself and really asking myself, how can I stop? Like, I started actually noticing what I was doing. And one day, I don't even know how, but the book, Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit, popped into my awareness, and I began reading that book. And normally I don't read books. I normally just do everything by audio. I think I even found out about it through YouTube, because I was typing in just different things, searching about like how to quit, how to save your marriage, like all these things. And so I read that book, and Alan Carr just made it sound easy. Literally, it was that easy. And not only was it that easy, but once you decide in your mind, like I had already decided years before, I just didn't know how to stop. And once I read that book, it helped me to really focus and really become brave and really give myself a chance to stop. So I read that book. I started doing the things. I was journaling. I was doing all the things. And this is only just to quit cigarettes. And when I say doing the things, I mean like paying attention to my triggers and seeing the times of day when I feel like smoking, and seeing the people that I interact with that make me want to go and smoke, and the different activities and different shows, and just all the little moments throughout the day where I wanted to pick up a cigarette, light it up, and use that as a reason to decompress from whatever stress was happening. And so I did that. I did all the things. And then eventually I let it go. I eventually stopped smoking. At first I joined a group. I think it was called Nope. It was like NOPE. It was like a group online. I found them just by searching again on the internet. And it was like my community. Like, all of us on there were trying to quit something. And I was using it as my opportunity to quit smoking cigarettes. And I think Nope stands for Not One Puff Ever, if I can remember right. I hope I'm not messing it up, but I think that's what it stood for. They gave us one tip was to cut straws in half, and then take a cotton ball and break it up into a small piece, dip that cotton ball into cinnamon, and then stick it in the one end of the straw, and then puff on that as you're going through the journey of quitting. And that will help you, I guess, decrease the need to smoke. You still have that hand to mouth connection that you were having with cigarettes, but now it's something that's even healthier. So I was puffing on cinnamon sticks. I did that for about a month or so, and it was really helpful. I'm not going to lie. And then eventually I started to notice in my journal that I was going, 2 days without smoking cigarettes. The first few days I remember were so hard. I was in a terrible mood. I was upset. I spent a lot of time sleeping. I spent a lot of time trying to pass the time so that I could get past the triggers. The more triggers that I got past, the more success that I saw. And so as I got past those triggers, I would still go to work, but after work, I would immediately get ready for bed. When I wake up in the morning, I would get ready for work. I was stopping all of those moments in between that caused me to want to go and find a cigarette. In heated discussions, I would go to my bathroom and just close the door and just sit there quietly in the dark. Like I was doing all kinds of things and they all helped. So I believe I quit smoking. I feel like it's been since about 2016, possibly. So maybe coming up on maybe like 8 years now, which is amazing because I never thought that I would be able to quit. I thought that because I started something that I hated and it had been so ingrained in me that I was going to just be a smoker forever. And I'm proud of myself today to say that I'm not a cigarette smoker anymore. Now, during that time, I also wanted to eliminate smoking weed as well. That one was a harder struggle because I wasn't smoking cigarettes, I would go to weed. I wouldn't have to smoke as often, but I turned it into like a nighttime ritual, and I was just getting high and relaxing and getting high and doing my daily chores and everything that I did, I got high before. I was a runner, but every time before I ran, I got high. Before I worked out, I got high. Before I cooked dinner, I got high. Before I went to bed, I got high. Before I went to work, I would not get high. So I did have that differentiation of separating the two because I tried it a couple of times and I'm just going to say I saw the difference. I realized that I'm more paranoid and I'm wondering if they could tell that I'm high on my call. So I definitely stopped doing that really quick. That wasn't something I kept going because work was important to me because that's how I could pay for my weed and my bills, of course, and my kids. But I say all that to say that I made a big move in 2021 to where I'm currently residing here in Galveston. And when I moved here, I was still addicted to smoking weed like daily. And when I moved here, I didn't have a job. I had just quit my job and I was just like figuring it all out and trying to recreate my life. And it was scary. And so I was out here by myself. As soon as I moved out here, I found a weed man. So, like, all of the things that I was comfortable with, I was trying to keep going in my new life. And as I was trying to hold on to these things, I just noticed I was just getting this feeling. It just didn't feel as fun or as good as it used to. And I was all by myself doing it. Like, I didn't have friends to go get high with because usually, I'd break up getting high by myself with getting high with a friend. And I was just here. Again, I wasn't working, so I was literally just here. I did find a job shortly after moving here. It was a job that did not drug test. And I did that job for a little bit, still smoking. And that job didn't work out. I moved here in February of 2021. And today is actually February the 15th, 2022. Actually, I'm sorry. I moved here February 2022. And today is February 15, 2023. So I've been here for a year now. Now, April came of last year, April 2022, And that's my birth month. 2 weeks before my birthday, I decided to quit smoking weed. I had smoked so much. I'd been here February, March. That was 2.5 months of just smoking. And every time I would light up, I would barely get high. And I was just like, what is going on? I was like, it's feeling lame. I don't know. It was just starting to not feel cool anymore. And I already knew inside, like I kept having these reoccurring synchronicities pop up that I wanted to be childlike and I wanted to see what life was like a child, because children do not need to get high in order to live and to function and to be happy. They're just happy. And so I quit in April, 2 weeks before my birthday. And in that 2 weeks, I was so proud of myself. The last time I smoked, and then the rest of my stash, which I still had a bunch because I had just gotten a lot, I put it in the toilet and I was like, there's no going back this time. And so right before my birthday came, I had applied to be a lifeguard, and one of the requisites of getting the job was a drug screen. And I was like, well, it's been 2 weeks. I've been drinking lots of water. I've been exercising. I should be clean by now. I took that drug screen for that job and I failed. And I had never failed a drug screen in my life. It was the most saddest, frustrating. I was so angry at myself. I had never been so mad at myself as I was that day when I got those results, because it was something that I wanted to do. Being a lifeguard is probably not like the biggest deal. I don't even know how to be a lifeguard. And I was actually going to be working in the concessions with the opportunity of moving up and being trained to be a lifeguard. But it was the whole point that something that I wanted, I couldn't have because of the choices that I had made. So that made me really stick with not smoking again, because I said, I never want to feel like this again. And I told myself, I was like, we only have ourselves to blame. No one forced me to do anything. I moved out here in February. I could have stopped then. And I said, you know what? Instead of seeing this as a negative thing, I'm going to see it as a positive. Because if I hadn't failed, then I probably would go back to smoking again. I needed something to wake me the freak up. And it woke me up. And I'm so grateful for that, because today, again, is February 15. On February the 11th, let me just look it up here because I want to be accurate. I'm pulling up a calendar on my phone because I've been tracking on my regular calendar. On February the 11th, I made 10 months sober from weed. I have not smoked weed in 10 whole months. That's the longest I've gone since I was 14 years old. The longest I'd gone before was maybe like 2 weeks for a job. Yeah, that breath that I just made, I just breathe out. It's a sigh of relief, a sigh of gratitude. I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud to not be holding myself back, to not be addicted anymore to a substance, to just be addicted to life. I'm not gonna lie, I still have moments where I think about it. I've been in situations where I've been around it with other people, and I've made the conscious choice now to say no. And it's not because of anything, it's just because I don't want to, even though sometimes parts of me might want to, but then there's another part of me that thinks about the feeling of it. And I think about the feeling before, and I'm like, I was just fine 5 minutes ago before I even saw that weed. Why would I need weed to enhance how I talk to this person and interact with this person. I don't need a third party in this interaction. I think I've got this one. So I don't need weed now as a crutch. I don't need cigarettes as a crutch. We don't need weed as a crutch or cigarettes as a crutch. I've gained a healthy relationship with drinking. That happened back in around 2019. That's when that process started happening, where I just decided to stop drinking. And now I'm not afraid of alcohol, but I can drink sociably. If someone offers me a drink while I'm out in a setting, I can have one, but I don't want to feel inebriated. I don't want to feel drunk. I've had moments where I felt like that again, and I don't want to feel like that. I really want to do life just as me, without having to feel so much like I need something else to make me better. I'm better just by being me. You're better just by being you. We are all better just by being ourselves. We don't need a third party to help us be ourselves. It's hard and it's a struggle to face ourselves every day and know that we're doing something that we don't want to do, but we just keep doing it. It's really hard. Even things like eating. I even struggle with eating food, like overeating, and I'm still working on balance with that, because sometimes I have to ask myself, why do I need to eat until my stomach feels just like so full? Why can't I just eat until I feel comfortable and that's it? And I'm getting better. Every day is getting better. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with us, but I am saying that when we use our awareness and we pay attention to what's actually going on and how we're actually feeling, then we will understand better of what it is that we're doing and how we can get off of the hamster wheel of the monotony of doing the same things over and over again, expecting some kind of different result. We can make our lives better by letting go of the crutches that we're holding on to. It will be hard at first. Quitting weed, the first 2 nights of me not smoking weed out here in this new area where I live by myself, I remember having intense leg cramps. I'd never had leg cramps like that. Like, I normally sleep like a baby. I had leg cramps where I was in tears. And I was like, I know what this is. This is me detoxing. And I just have to allow the process. By about day 3, day 4, things were starting to balance out. I always had dreams, but I never had sometimes I couldn't even remember my dreams. But now I have dreams where I remember them. I'm on journeys. I'm going all over the place. I'm not controlling my dreams. They're just happening naturally. But I don't have to smoke in order to do anything anymore. Now I can just live a normal lifestyle, like the child that I want to, tapping into my inner child. I want to be able to be an adult, but also be able to be a child. I want to be my own parent, basically, and give myself, some boundaries and some guidelines and encouragement, and cheer myself on when I'm doing a good job and all of that. So this podcast has been about 24 minutes long so far. I've really enjoyed talking about this. This is something that I've wanted to talk about for a good while now. And just making this podcast and recording every week has really been bringing me joy and clarity and helping me to grow even more. I'm here to grow and expand, and I feel like I'm doing that. And I hope that whoever is listening to this wherever you are, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, that you found this podcast to be beneficial. You got something from it. If you're going through something similar, don't be hard on yourself. Eventually, you will get fed up with whatever crutch it is that you have, and you'll let it go. All you have to do is just tell yourself, I don't want to do this anymore. And once you say that, even if you say it in the most meekest voice, the quietest voice, once you say that, your subconscious and the universe, our guides, source, God, our creator, hears that and will move mountains to help you. I'm getting a little choked up because I want everyone to feel this happiness and this peace of not needing anything and remembering that you're whole. You are whole just as you are. You're everything. You are the universe. I love you so much. If no one has told you that recently, I'm telling you now. I love you. I care about you. I know that you got this. Breathe with me. And let's keep going. Let's keep going on our journey, discovering new things about ourselves that we didn't know before. So, with that being said, I'm going to end today's podcast here. Again, I thank you so much for listening and being here with me along this journey. If you found this helpful, this podcast helpful, this recording helpful, feel free to subscribe, comment, tell me about things that you're trying to let go of and your struggle. We can form a community. We can talk about these things. It's okay. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all here for each other. Literally, we are all each other, walking each other home. So, again, I love you. Have a wonderful morning, night, evening, wherever you are. And until next time,